Listen with me now to the Word of God from the Gospel of Matthew. Now, when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountain. And after he sat down, his disciples came to him, and then he began to speak. And he taught them, saying this, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of things falsely against you on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. The other day, I was trying to get my kid out the door to school, and he was trying to convince me that we had time to play one more round of his new favorite card game. I told him we could play if first he puts his shoes and his jacket on. He looked at me and said, "But is it a rule?" "What do you mean?" I asked. "Like, is it a rule that I have to get my shoes on and my jacket on before we play the game?" You see, my son, though his 4-year-old impulses most often get the best of him, is a rule follower. And he has learned that if you label something a rule, it has more weight to it. So he was testing me out. Is this a rule? Do I have to go get those shoes on or not? He likes to please. He likes to know what to expect and what is expected of him. And I get it. I love a good, clear set of rules and expectations. I dropped a friend off for an appearance at court this week, and I had to park the car. I came back, and I found the courtroom. And on the door, there was a sign that says, "Do not pull on this door, for the door is locked." Well, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to go in and support my friend, but it said, "Do not pull on the door." So I figured if I waited long enough, someone might come out, and courthouses are bustling places, and sure enough, someone came out, and I snuck in. And it didn't take me long as I watched people kind of breeze in and out and through that door that it dawned on me that there were actually kind of 2 doors that opened like this, and the sign was on one of them. So it was saying, "Do not pull on this door because it's locked," but the other one was open. I like following rules. I had been in a car parked in a tow-away zone while someone quickly ran in for something, my heart palpitating a little bit, thinking, what do I do if somebody comes, up? And then there's some people who see that spot as simply just another parking spot and don't even look at that sign, and it causes them no stress. Most of us want to be good people. We want to be good Christians. For too many of us, however, this can simply boil down to maybe being kind or nice, going to worship, maybe sometimes getting crazy and even going to a Sunday school class. Often it boils down to thinking the right thing or doing the right thing. And if you're wired to follow rules, you might find following Jesus, let's say, a bit challenging. We've been lingering the past few weeks in the season of Epiphany, a season of divine revelation, a season of light breaking forth, the birth of Jesus, the gifts of the Magi, the preparations for Jesus' ministry by the presence of John the Baptist. And today we finally get to a point where Jesus says something. So what will be revealed through his words? Jesus leads people up a mountain. Now this context would not be lost on his Jewish followers because many great things have been revealed on mountains. So they were primed. They were ready. And he begins to speak. And his first speaking is what we have come to know as the Sermon on the Mount. And it begins with the familiar words of the Beatitudes that we heard this morning. Now, for those of us who have been trying to follow Jesus for a while, this might be one of those passages where we think, oh, yeah, I've heard these. It's a bunch of blessings. I think they're supposed to make me feel a little bit better. I don't know. We might even think of the Beatitudes as a checklist or ways of being in the world that we're trying to do. And then if that's the case, we try to live into them and we begin to think, I don't know about this meekness thing. Persecuted? I don't know. And we become tempted to ask ourselves, but is it a rule? When we come across lists like this, we are tempted to make them litmus tests or checklists, a sign of who's in or who's out or how we are measuring up. If we had heard this, Jesus speaking in the original language, however, we would have not had this impulse. We would not have seen these as commands, but we would have heard them as simply the proclamations that they are. This is not a litany of religious shoulds, but a litany of surprising congratulations. It's a map of who is truly blessed, not a set of instructions of how to acquire blessing. Items in this list can help make this clear. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are those who are persecuted. Surely Jesus is not asking us to conjure up situations where we are having to mourn or where we are persecuted. Rather, he's delivering good news and consolation to those who are already in mourning, to those who are being persecuted. And remember, Jesus was preaching to a crowd primarily constituted by the sick, the afflicted, by people caring for those who are sick. He is saying to them, in essence, the world may not look at you and regard you as blessed, but the truth is you are the blessed ones. See, God's reign turns everything upside down, and that kingdom is here now. Religions, both in the ancient world and today, are often concerned with divine blessing. How do we get it? How do we keep it? What do we do to inherit it? And so on. And so when you have a religious teacher who is giving their teachings, we might expect the heart of their message to address this topic. And sure enough, right out of the gates, Jesus begins his first major sermon with a teaching on blessing. Never fear, for you rule followers. Jesus gets to instructions later in the Sermon on the Mount, but he begins with God's blessing. And so this idea is presented that blessing is not a reactive award for following instructions. but it's an unearned gift that we may respond to with gratitude and joy. Blessings first. In this way of Jesus beginning rejects this idea that what's most important about God's blessing is how to get it and how to keep it. On the contrary, the most important thing that Jesus says, that the most important thing about blessing, Jesus says, is that it's already graciously given. And it's already all over the place. The trick is, it's just not where we expect to find it. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a martyr, wrote this: "We must learn to regard people less in the light of what they do or omit to do, and more in the light of what they suffer." And I would add, it's not until we draw in close proximity to others who are suffering, that we can fully understand their suffering. Those who followed Jesus up the mountain were the beat down, the weary ones, the ones looking and longing for a different way, the ones needing some imagination to believe that things could be different. To be blessed means to feel like you are not and you will not be alone, that you're accompanied wherever you will go, that you have the ability to get beyond whatever is facing you in this current moment. Being blessed means feeling like you have worth, not because of something you did or didn't do, but simply because of who you are. It's not because you follow a rule. It's because you are a child of God. If you are like me, you might hear these Beatitudes and maybe have a hard time seeing yourself in them or wondering how you fit. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's easy for you. Listen to how one preacher fleshes out these Beatitudes, and hear if you can hear yourself in these. She says this: "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who doubt. Blessed are the agnostic. Blessed are those who are just not sure. Blessed who have been trying to follow Jesus for a while and are simply tired. Blessed are those who have nothing to offer. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are they for whom death is not an abstraction. Blessed are they who have buried loved ones. Blessed are they who have loved enough to know what loss feels like. Blessed are the mothers of the miscarried. Blessed are they who cannot fall apart because everyone else depends on them. Blessed are the motherless, the alone, the ones from whom so much has been taken. Blessed are those who still aren't over it yet. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who no one else notices. The kids who sit alone at middle school lunch tables. The laundry guys in the hospital. The sex workers and the night shift street sweepers. Blessed are the forgotten. Blessed are the closeted. Blessed are the unemployed, the unimpressive, the underrepresented. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, she says, for they will be filled. Blessed are the wrongly accused, those who can never catch a break, the one for whom life is hard. For those are with whom Jesus chose to surround himself. Blessed are those without documentation. Blessed are those with the ones without lobbyists. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are those who know there must be more than this, because they are right. And blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the ones who make terrible business decisions for the sake of people. Blessed are the burnt-out social workers, the overworked teachers and pro bono caseworkers. Blessed are the kids who step in between bullies. Blessed are those who delete hateful, homophobic comments off their friends' Facebook pages. Blessed are the ones who've received such real grace that they realize they're no longer in the position to determine who the deserving poor are. And I would add this. Blessed are you, church, when you are in the midst of disorienting or unexpected change. Blessed are you who sit in the midst of the uncomforts of unknowns and confusion. Blessed are the ones who've been here for 50 years and the ones who maybe just walked in recently. Blessed are you who seek peace and unity, even when you don't understand. Is it a rule? No. It is a blessing. Thanks be to God. Amen.